Without humanity's constant desire for knowledge, we wouldn't have medicine. We wouldn't have automobiles. We wouldn't have airplanes, hot pants, grilled cheese, or Netflix. But while most researchers understand their limits and know where to stop, there are others who do not. And when someone goes too far, there are consequences. Governments react, experiments go wrong, and in one case, the Earth may even crack in two. So, to find out why, let's take a look at a few dangerous minds involved in some astonishingly bizarre projects. Michel Siffre. Michel Siffre was another man who almost lost his mind due to research, as in 1972 he spent 6 months living alone in an underground Texas cave. But his work may one day help us get to Mars. As a young man, Siffre's two main passions were caving and space exploration. And aged 23, he decided to combine these interests by isolating himself within caves to replicate the situations future astronauts might experience. In July 1962, Siffre lived in total isolation for 2 months, 100 feet below the ground inside an alpine glacier, with no exposure to daylight or clocks to help him judge time. During his 63 days underground, he says he turned mad only once, when he began singing as loud as he could while dancing the twist in a pair of silk tights. Siffre's work helped us to discover that human beings have internal biological clocks, since during his experiment, his body had adhered to a normal 24-hour cycle of sleeping and waking. The success of this venture led Siffre to try a longer period of research 10 years later, and on this occasion, his sanity proved far less stable. 79 days into his 6-month stay inside a cave in Del Rio, Texas, Siffre began to crack. He became irritated when his record player broke and his books were destroyed by mildew. Siffre contemplated suicide, and the experiment, which was sponsored by NASA, looked doomed to fail. Siffre's irritation was compounded by the fact he was wired up with electrodes to measure his brain and heart activity. But suddenly his mood changed. Siffre made a friend, a small mouse that liked to rummage through his supplies. Siffre tried to trap the mouse to make it his pet, but unfortunately, when he tried to contain it using a casserole dish, he accidentally crushed the poor rodent to death. He wrote a single line in his journal: "Desolation overcomes me." Siffre bravely plowed on towards the experiment's end, but just as it was about to conclude, a lightning storm hit his scientific equipment. This sent a shock of electricity through Siffre's entire body, and due to his severe depression, it took 3 jolts before he realized it might be a good idea to disconnect the wires. Siffre's incredible first-hand research helped us to discover that over long periods of time, isolated humans endure a wildly varied sleep pattern, with cycles ranging from 18 to 52 hours. This information will undoubtedly prove useful if humans ever make it to Mars, but it almost came at a terrible cost to Michel Siffre's sanity. Siffre remains alive, well and sane at the time of writing. But I'll bet you one thing for certain: he can't look at a casserole dish the same way ever again. Poor little fella.